Hi, everybody. This is Mrs. Diaz.
This is Mr. Brody.
Today, we're going to walk you through the financial aid application. But before we get started, we're going to give you a checklist of what you should have before you even get started. So we're going to share that with all of you right now. So the first thing is you want to make sure that for the financial aid application or the DREAM Act application that you're going to complete the 2021-2022 application. So that's the year you will be in college, whether it's a four-year university, community college, a vocational or trade school. You're going to do the 2021-2022 application. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure for the FAFSA, so FAFSA is for a federal aid, is that you create an FSA ID. This is your federal student aid ID. This is what you're going to use to log in. This is what you're going to use to electronically sign your application.
Write it down, save it. Remember, you're going to use that all throughout your education.
Your parent or legal guardian, they will also need to create an FSA ID. However, if your parent doesn't have a social security number, they could still, you could still put their information, but we'll get to that part later. So they don't need to necessarily do an FSA ID if they don't have a social, but they still will help you complete the application. Make sure you check with colleges if you also need the CSS profile. That's a financial aid application for colleges that are private or independent colleges. They use this similar to the FAFSA to figure out how much aid they're going to provide you with. And it's a lot different than the FAFSA or the DREAM Act application, but it's still something that is you have to do for certain schools like USC, Pepperdine,
Stanford.
Yeah, so any of the like private or independent colleges, you're going to have to do a CSS profile. The other thing we want to mention is if you are undocumented, DACA, AB 540, Dreamer, any of those, then you need to fill out the DREAM Act application, and that's different from the FAFSA. So a student who is undocumented, DACA, AB 540, or Dreamer, you cannot do the federal student aid, but you do qualify for state aid. So you would do the California DREAM Act. And if you're not sure, you can ask any one of us. We'll be happy to help you, but don't do both of them. You have to just do one or the other. So if you are a US citizen or legal resident of California, you'll do the FAFSA. If you are other undocumented, DACA, AB 540, then you would do the California DREAM Act application.
Yeah. And it only works for California schools.
Correct.
So if you move out of state, they might not have a DREAM Act.
Correct. And again, if you're not sure about your status, please reach out to any of us counselors, Dr. Royan, Dr. G, Mr. Brody, or myself, and we'll be happy to guide you through it.
Yeah. And remember, DREAM Act has a hard deadline.
Yeah. So the documents that you need to have in front of you before you even complete your application is your parents' federal income tax return. Typically, it's the first 2 pages plus any supplemental, if they did a supplemental filing, that would be part of it as well. And it's usually the 1040, the 1040A, or the 1040EZ, and it's the 2019 income.
So 2 years back.
Right, so because you're doing the 2021 to 2022, you need your 2019 federal income tax. Your social security card. So the reason it's important to have your actual card or a copy of your card, it's because your name and your social need to match exactly the same on your application. Did you want to do this, Mr.
That
Brody?
is very important. So, okay, I'm just going to use myself. My name legally is Micah K. Williams Brody. Legally, I go by Micah Brody, or I go by Micah Brody Williams. Legally, you have to write it whatever's on your social security because that has to link up with your social security number and all your financial aid information, okay?
Yeah. So make sure that you have your either your social security card or a copy. It's not good to just have the number because we don't know how your name is spelled. And again, if you have two last names or a hyphen, all of that needs to be exact. So we just want to really, stress that part of your social security number. Now, if you don't have a social security number because you don't have one, then most likely you need to do the different application, which is the DREAM Act. If you are a permanent resident, make sure you bring your registration card or permanent residency card because there are specific numbers that they're going to ask you for on the application. So again, if you don't feel comfortable, well, you're not going to see this in person anyways, but make sure you have the actual card in front of you or a copy of it. If you have a driver's license, make sure you put that information on there. And then this is really, really important, your parents' legal name and their date of birth. And if they are legally married, divorced, or separated, you need to know the month and the year they were either married, divorced, or separated.
So for you guys whose parents are separated, but it's not done through court, like it's just court legal separation or court legal divorce, not they live in separate houses, but they're still married. That's to be legally separated, legally divorced. Okay.
Mm-hmm. If your
legally
parents,
married, not common law. We don't do that in
right.
the state of California.
If your parent never married, like if your mom and dad never married one another, but they have a spouse, that's a different conversation. They have to be their legal spouse. So we need to, we're going to go through the different scenarios as we go through the application, but we just want to make sure you have this information. So what happens after you submit, you'll receive a confirmation email. And if everything is correct and everything matches, then you're going to have a processed email. And then you'll get a student aid report sent to you. If there are any corrections, they'll let you know. And then just know that we are submitting, this is wrong. Just know that we are submitting Cal Grant verifications already. Those were already done by the district. So your GPA was sent to California Student Aid Commission for Cal Grant eligibility. The deadline to submit your financial aid application or DREAM Act is March 2nd. So you need to make sure, I know we're starting really early, but it's going to give you time to not rush at the end. We don't want anybody rushing at the end.
Okay, so I'm just going to, this is a disclaimer. That is the priority deadline for FAFSA. That is a hard deadline for DREAM Act. Okay, so we've had a student recently in the past who did it literally the day after for DREAM Act, and they could not get financial aid. But FAFSA, you're just not going to be in that priority pool. So I would just say you want by Lincoln's birthday, have it all done in February.
Yeah, you really don't want to wait till March 2nd, especially because we've seen the website get really funky and like have these glitches, crash. It's an added stress you don't need. Right now we're in October, so you have plenty of time to get this information and get it taken care of. And we will be having financial aid workshops. This video is for you to use. You can stop, pause, repeat, however you want. But we wanted to make sure that we walked you through the actual application at least one time, and then you can have it for your reference. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is you're gonna go to CCGI, and I have it open. Can you see it, Brody, or no?
No, I don't see it yet.
No, okay.
I still see the. Hold on, what happened? Oh, okay.
Okay, so in order to start your FAFSA or your California DREAM Act, you're going to actually launch from CaliforniaColleges.edu. So during seminar, we went over this, and we also sent the videos out. So hopefully, if you don't remember, you can go back to the video where it's the launching video. But once you do that, you're going to sign in with your account information. Your email address should be your PUSD email. I'm going into a fake student account, so please do not put in what I'm putting in. This is just for us to show you.
So your username is your PUSD email.
Yeah, and then your
Password should be the same as your PUSD password.
Yeah, it should be, unless you changed it, but it should be the same as your Chromebook. And if not, you can, whatever you changed it to. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Okay. So when you're in, you're no longer going to see the lockbox. You're going to see the little like icon of a person. And then you're going to go to financial aid. And for today, again, we're launching the FAFSA. So you're going to click on FAFSA, which stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So here it's telling you, it's going to give you an overview. This is actually the video we shared in seminar, so you can rewatch it again if you want. And then you're going to click on this blue button here where it says Launch FAFSA. You're going to go ahead and click on Launch FAFSA. So here, if you're new, you're going to click on New to the FAFSA process. It's asking you if the answer is yes. You're going to click on Start Here. One thing I want you to remember is that completing the FAFSA form is free. So if you go to FAFSA.ed.gov, you're in the right place. If you go to FAFSA.com, you're not in the right place. It's going to look very similar, but it's not going to be free. So you want to make sure you're at the FAFSA.ed.gov website. And again, you'll know you're in the right website because it's telling you already it is completely free.
Yep.
So we're going to click on Start Here. And you're going to actually click on I am the student, but since Mr. Brody and I are doing a fake financial aid, we're going to go into the fake financial aid website.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to click on here because we're going to put in our information. So we're going to put John. Our last name is Mustang. And the social, remember, for your social, it has to match exactly as it is on your social security card. So, of course, this is a fake account, but it's 9 numbers. And then your date of birth. So please always look at how they're requesting the format of your date of birth. They want the 2-digit month, the 2-digit day, and then the 4-digit year. So here, let's say my birthday is January 7th. It's going to be 0107. I have to put that 0 in front of it because if I just put 17, it's not going to work. It has to be 0107. And most of you seniors were born in 2003 or 2004 or maybe 2002. So I'm going to put January 7th, 2003. And then we're going to click next. Go ahead, Mr. Brody.
Do not put 03. You can actually be still alive if you're born in 1903.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So you don't want to put, you want to put 2003. So we're going to click next. And then it says, welcome, John. You should review the information you enter to make sure it's accurate before clicking next. If you believe you've already submitted a FAFSA and the information provided on the next page, contact us for an assistant. So don't worry about that. But you want to double check. So my first name is John. My last name is Mustang. My social matches what I have in front of me. And then I entered my birthday correctly. So I'm going to go to next. So this is a disclaimer. It's basically telling you you're accessing the U.S. federal government computer system. So all the information is solely being used for financial aid. It's only for U.S. Department of Education. It doesn't go anywhere else. This is all for federal student aid. You accept. And then here you're going to have 2 options. You're going to have start the 2021-2022 or the 2022-2021.
No.
This is the one we're going to do, okay? For the aid that you're going to need from fall 2021, that's the one you're going to do. Start 2021-2022 FAFSA. Do not do this one. This is if you're currently in college. You're not currently in college, okay?
Now, if you're taking dual enrollment, you are in college, but you don't pay for nothing, so you don't need financial aid.
Correct. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. Here it's asking you to create a save key. So this is temporary and it's only to access it. Like if you had to go back in and and make a correction of some sort, you're creating it for this application only. And it's usually a 4-digit number, any 4 digits. We always recommend using something that you'll remember. For example, your birthday. So again, if I wanted to use my birthday, I'd be 0107. That's not my actual birthday, but that's what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to re-enter 0107. Make sure to save this, right, Mr. Brody?
Write it down, put it in your cloud. Please, you guys don't understand how it helps you to save all this information somewhere. That way you can go back and find it.
So you're going to enter the save key, and then you're going to re-enter it. So again, something you're creating. It's not something they're giving you. It's something you are making up. And go next.
You can use your last 4 of your Jami or student ID or something, whatever.
So here it actually gives you instructions. And you're welcome to go through all of these if you'd like. If you like to read and you just want to read up on it, feel free. I know there's some students that like that. But for the most part, all of you just like to click next without reading anything. So we're going to click next. And as you see, some stuff has already been pre-populated. My social, my first name. I don't have a middle initial, but if I did, this is where I would put it. And notice that it's asking for initial. So if my middle name was Mir, I'm going to put M. Okay? And then your date of birth. We're going to click next. Now it's asking us for an email address. So we're going to put Mustang 1905 at gmail.com. This is a fake email address. So please no one try to email us at this one. So again, Mustang. Mr. Bird is about to tell y'all something really interesting right now.
Please use an email that you check. Don't use the PUSD one. It's going to go away July after you graduate. So you won't even be able to use that again. Use your personal email. Use your iCloud, your personal Gmail, something that you're going to check on a regular basis. If you don't have one, create one using your PUSD start. Your blank, whatever. Last 4 of your student ID, first 2, all that. Make an email that you're going to actually check.
And also, if you have a personal email that's not appropriate, for example, like Hot Mama 5120 or Sugar Daddy, or then create a new one, because you need to have a professional email, of an email that they're not going to be like, wait, what? So.
Yes, please have, look, keep your shenanigan email to the side, use that for whatever, but for work, business, this is business related. Use a professional email, you know?
Yes. So make sure you have a professional email, and it's not your PUSD email. And then your phone number, make sure you put in your phone number. Okay. Double check that information. Yes, that's my email. Yes, that's my email. Make sure you spell it right, because I've seen some students when they're typing really fast and then they put gmail.com and com is misspelled, or the Gmail, the A and the I are inverted. So like you need to make sure that
the M is in.
Right. So make sure that you are putting it in, double check it. It's okay. We want to make sure that you're putting in the right information. So again, your email, your phone number.
And please make it something you're going to check. Like, here's the thing. You guys have deadlines going forward. Check your deadlines, check your emails. You have to be about that business. Because they're going to send you stuff. Hey, you have to send this in by this deadline.
So the great thing about technology is we have things at our fingertips. But the bad thing about technology is we rely so much on it that we don't know basic information, like your address. So a lot of times, students don't know their mailing address. You need to make sure that you're either looking it in your student portal, or that you double check with your family, what is our mailing address. You need to put your full permanent mailing address. If you live on Raymond, if you live on El Molino, it's not just the name of the street, but the number also. So for this one, we're going to use Mir's address. Go ahead, Mr. Brody.
And you have to put directional. You have streets that have the same thing. It could be a Lincoln Avenue, Lincoln Street, Lincoln Boulevard. You put the type of street it is.
Yeah. So again, we're using Mir's information. So 1905 Lincoln Avenue, Pasadena.
Mhm.
We're going to select California. And then our zip code is 91103. Again, the zip code is going to be unique to whatever your address is at. If it's in Altadena, if it's in Pasadena. The other thing I want to say, make sure you're using your actual mailing address. Now, we already know we have students that come to MIR that don't live in our attendance zone. We know this, okay? Make sure that you're putting the right mailing address. Don't worry about, well, it's because we use my grandma's address for MIR. We don't care about that.
We really don't care.
You really need to put your actual address because this is where you're going to get the information. So if you really don't live with your grandma, but you live in Pacoima or you live in Monrovia or you live in Alhambra, whatever, put the right address.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also write it down just in case you move later.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to, that's information that's going to pop up later.
So right now we're going through student information. So this question is asking, have you, the student, lived in California at least 5 years? You're going to answer that yes or no. So
generally,
yes.
most of you will say yes if you've been here since 7th grade.
So are you a citizen? And remember, again, you can only do this application if you're a U.S. citizen or a legal resident. Okay, so U.S. citizen means you were born here, you're a native, or you became a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I'm an eligible non-citizen, then these are your legal residents. Yes. Okay, so if you're a legal resident of the state of California, meaning you have what people refer to as your green card or your registration card, then you need to make sure that you have that information because it'll ask you for that information as well. So we're going to put, yes, I am a U.S. citizen, and we're going to hit continue. Mm-hmm. What will your high school completion status be when you begin college in 2021-2022 school year?
Graduate.
So, yes, you're going to have a high school diploma, okay? All of you should be receiving a high school diploma. What college degree or certificate will you be working on when you begin the 2021-2022 school year? Now,
let's go through.
Yeah, this is going to depend. So go ahead, Mr. Brody.
So generally, if you're trying to go to a 4-year university, you're going to do first bachelor's degree. That's like I'm going to Cal State LA, Cal State Northridge, UCLA, USC, Cal Berkeley, private schools. That's what that will be for a first bachelor's degree. An associate's degree is usually like a PCC, a trade school, LA Trade Tech, Glendale City College, so on, so on, so on. And then you have your certificate programs. Those are, you're not getting an associate's degree, but you're getting a certificate for a job or a program or an industry that you're doing. Mm-hmm. And then you have all the way down, which is grad school. None of you are going to be at grad school right now, unless you can have some geniuses.
Yeah.
But
so again,
teacher program also, but generally now you have to get a BA to get your teaching diploma, your teacher credential too.
So you're either going to pick your first bachelor's degree if you're going directly to a 4-year university or college. If you're going to a community college, depending on if you're going to do a program or an occupation there with an associate's, you'll click that. If you're on a transfer route, meaning you're going to a community college and then you want to transfer to a 4-year, you will select that. If you're getting a certificate, for example, a plumbing certificate, welding certificate, any of that, if it's less than 2 years, you're going to select that. If it's at least 2 years, meaning that it's 2 years or more to complete, EMT, dental assistant, medical assistant, there are some that are 2-year programs at least. So you want to make sure that you're selecting the appropriate program. So again, first bachelor's degree, associate's degree, both of these would apply, and then the certificate programs. So for right now, we're just going to go ahead and select first bachelor's degree. Then the next question is, will you have your first bachelor's degree before you begin? The answer is no. None of you are going to have a bachelor's degree before this school year, the 2021-2022 school year. This is an important question here because I think our dual enrollment students are going to get caught up with this question. What will your college grade level be when you begin the 2021-2022 school year?
So generally, you guys are all going to be incoming freshmen with units. That's what you guys will be.
So you're still, this is your first time. You're not attended college. You have, but you haven't. Like you've done it during high school. You've never graduated high school yet. So you're going to select this one. Okay. This is really important. And the reason this is important, are you interested in being considered for work study?
Yes.
Yes. If you put no, it's harder to change it after. So what is work study, Mr. Brody?
Work study is pretty much, it's part of your financial aid. So it will help you pay for school, but instead of giving you a check, they're going to give you work to help pay for school. So you'll get some job on campus, whatever school you go to, and that money will help offset your costs for college. So it's work studies to pay for school. That's pretty much what it is.
And so the thing about work study is not every student will get it. And there's a lot of on-campus employment that only take work study students. So that's why it's a benefit to you that you say, yes, you want to be considered for work study. Because if you go to college and then there's a job, but they only take work study students, if you put no, you can't have that job. So the other thing about work study is it's taxed, it's not taxed. So basically you get the full pay. You don't get anything taxed. You're a student. You get all of the pay. You don't have to pay any taxes or any of those deductions. You get the full amount.
Yeah. And then cool thing about work studies, if you work it properly, you can actually work a job that you can get real work experience in and be able to use that as part of your resume for work, life after college. Takes a little bit of hustle.
Yeah. So are you male or female? So we know that, gender identity is very,
Fluid.
Yes. But here it's asking basically what was your assigned gender at birth. So whether you're male or female, you're going to go ahead and put that. Well, we'll put male since it's John.
Doesn't matter.
So, but this is good because of the selected service.
Yes.
So you want to tell them about
every man or every person born as a man has to sign up for the selective services. Here's the thing. This was started back around when World War I came around, World War I and World War II. It's pretty much saying if World War III cracks off and it gets crazy, and we don't have enough people in the military, in the reserves, and all these other things, National Guard, then we will enact a draft. Now, here's the thing. We're not going to enact a draft. We have way too many people in the military, way too many people in the Coast Guards, and reserve duty. So just click it, because here's the thing. You cannot get financial aid and just really go further as a male unless you do such services. It sucks.
So when it's asking, are you registered with Select Service? It's asking you if you've already been registered. Most likely you're not. So you're going to put no.
No.
And then it's going to ask you, do you want us to register you? You have to put yes.
You cannot put no.
Yeah. So just remember.
It ages out. I'm done. I don't have to do the draft anymore.
Yeah, there you go. But for federal student aid, you have to register with Select Services. Okay.
There's only men. I don't know why. Women can fight too.
They sure can, even sometimes better than men. So your driver's license, if you have one, you would enter it here. And if you don't, you just leave this blank and skip. So this is really important. Are you a foster youth, or were you at any time in foster care? If at any time, even if it was a week, a couple days, whatever, even if it was years ago, it doesn't matter. It's not asking a time limit. It's asking you a general question. Are you a foster youth, or were you at any time in the foster care system?
So you could be foster with a family member. So here's the thing. If you were ever not with your parents, the people that birthed you and like that are raising you, let's say you're with a grandmother, an auntie, an uncle, a cousin, a big brother, and they fostered you for a week, a day, or something, however long, click yes. And if you're embarrassed about it, there's a benefit to it. We will explain that in a second. Yeah.
So for now, we're going to click yes, just so that if you are, you know what goes on next. And then we'll go back and change it just to show you all. So highest school completed by parent one. If you don't know, you can put unknown. But if you do know, go ahead and put that. So I'm going to put unknown for parent one and unknown for parent two. and I'm going to continue. So here it's asking us for your high school name. We're going to type in John Muir High School.
You have to type out the whole name.
What is your high school located? Pasadena. And then it says state, California.
You have to put the state because there's 4 Pasadenas.
Yeah, confirm. And then you'll see the pop-up. So we want to make sure that we select the right one, which is this one. Okay. And then we're gonna next. Do you know the college's federal code? So each school has a federal code, but if you don't know it, that's okay. You can search it.
We would tell you.
Yeah. The financial aid application allows you to add 10 colleges at a time. So let's say your college list has like 15 and you're like, well, which of the 10? Just put whatever 10 first. Once your application is completed and processed, you can come back to it and put more schools. But for now, we're just gonna put a couple schools. So Mr. Brody, give me a school you want me to add.
I would tell everybody apply to either Cal State Northridge or Cal State LA because they're our home school, our home colleges.
So California, and then we're gonna put the name of the school. We're gonna add Northridge. And I just want to tell y'all, less is more. So the less you put in, the better result you'll get. See, I got 1, Cal State Northridge, boom.
And so you see that number, the 001153, that's their school code. Every academic institution has a school code.
Yep. So I'm gonna add more schools, and then we're gonna do Los Angeles. And then again, the state is California. So now Los Angeles, there's quite a bit. There's different community colleges, but we want Cal State LA. So this is the one we want right here.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna let's add an out-of-state school, Mr. Brody. Where should we go?
Let's go down to Florida.
Let's go to Florida.
Yeah, let's go to Miami.
Okay, but what school?
Miami.
Oh, that's the name? Miami. So there's different ones. So we look for the one we want. Which one do we want, Mr. Brody?
The University of Miami.
The University of Miami.
Boom.
Right here. Boom.
Right there.
University of Miami. That's the one we want. That's the one we're going to
So
add.
if you guys notice, you see the University of Miami has 4 different schools. These are the top 2 are a law program, which is a grad program. In the medical school is a medical program. So just go to the regular university. Let's say you did UCLA, it would say UCLA Med School, UCLA Law, and all these grad school programs. Just do the undergrad.
So we're going to University of Miami. And those are the 3. We're actually going to add one more school, which is PCC.
Okay.
California, I'm going to put Pasadena. Again, less is more. So boom, Pasadena City College is your first hit. And now we're gonna go to next. And here it tells you you've selected 4 schools already. If you click on that, it's gonna give you the schools. So Cal State, this is important. For each school, you have to select your housing plan. It might be different for each school. So if I go to Northridge, I don't wanna commute. I wanna live on campus. So I'm gonna put on campus. If I go to Cal State LA, well, I could drive, right? So I'm gonna be a commuter, but I'm gonna live at home with my parents. We recommend that you put off campus because you'll end up getting more money that way.
Yeah, don't put with your parents. Okay, your parents are cool. Even if you live with them, put off campus, okay?
Because they'll give you more money as far as aid. University of Miami, that's pretty far. I'm gonna have to live on campus. And then PCC, I live down the street from PCC, so I'm gonna be with parent, but I'm gonna put off campus.
Yes.
And then we're gonna click next. Okay, so important. Again, we're still in student information. This is all blue, meaning for you. What is your marital status of today? Well, your fake wedding status on Instagram does not apply. You guys like to call each other wifey, hubby, boo, whatever.
Hubby.
Unless you're legally married, which I've only had 1 student be legally married as a senior.
1. 2. We've
Oh,
had two.
I've had one. Well, I've had one. What is your marital status? You are single, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay? You are single.
If you don't go to the county office and legally get married, you're not married. Even if you're in a long-term relationship, you're not married, you're single.
Correct. So you are single. I am single. Next. So here it's going to ask you questions. You need to make sure that you're answering them that is true to you. Do you have or will you have children who will receive more than half of their support from you between July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022? Now, those dates are very specific to an academic school year, not like January to February, not January to December. It's a whole school year. If you have kids, if you actually have a child and you provide more than half of their support, you're going to put yes. But for the most part, you're going to put no.
Yeah. So if you're, let's say worst case scenario, somebody ends up pregnant and then you guys end up having a kid in that time frame, just put yes.
Do you have dependents other than children or a spouse who live with you and receive more than half of their support from you from now through June 2022? Most likely this is no. Okay, we're going to hit next.
And just so you guys know, some of these questions are asked because you have adults that are going back to school.
Correct.
So you have people that are married, that have kids, that have dependents, that are going back to school later in life, and they're trying to get financial aid too.
Yeah. So now we have to check off any of the questions that apply. Are you currently serving on the active duty? Again, it's asking, are you currently serving? Okay. Are you a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces? Number 3 is really important. At any time since you turned age 13, were both your parents deceased? Were you in foster care? Or were you a dependent or ward of the court? So if both of your parents passed away, both of them, not one, both of them. If you were in foster care, now it's giving you a timestamp. It's saying since the age of 13. It's telling you since the age of 13, were you in foster care? Or were you dependent or ward of the court? What that means is basically that the court is kind of like your parent. Like they're the ones that are making decisions for you. If any of these are yeses, you're going to check the box.
If you've ever been in juvenile hall, things like that, these are all the type of things.
Yeah. So please make sure that you answer these questions if they're applied to you. You check off the box. Okay. As determined by a court in your state of legal residence, so in California, are you or were you an emancipated minor? Now,
most of you be no, but so an emancipated minor is this. You guys are legally going to a court and you're stating, you and your parents are stating that you're legally grown at 13, 14, 15, 16, that us as parents are no longer responsible for you. You're going to handle all of that. That's what an emancipated minor is, okay? Most of you guys will click no. But if you fall in this, then click yes.
So the next one says, does someone other than your parent or step-parent have legal guardianship of you as determined by a court in your state of legal residence? This is really important. Many times in our families, we take on the responsibility of taking care of someone else, but it's not legal. The child's just staying with a family member. This means you've gone through court, that you've legally gone to court and somebody has legal guardianship of you, somebody that's other than your parent.
Yes.
Okay. Do I need to expand on that, Brody?
No, I think they're good.
Okay.
So generally, most of you guys will probably click none of the above.
Yeah.
But if any of these apply, click the ones that apply. Here's the thing. Please be very honest on these applications. Do not lie. Don't fudge. Like, be truthful to who you are, because there's pros and cons. There's benefits to some of it. And so just be very truthful in your applications, okay?
Yeah. There are times where you honestly are unsure what to put, and that's okay. That's what we're here to help. We can walk you through these questions and ask you follow-up questions to figure out which one's the best one for you. So we're going to go ahead and hit none of them of the above. We're going to hit next. So now it's asking again, on or after July 1st, 2020, were you homeless or were you self-supporting and at risk of being homeless? So COVID happened in March 2020.
Yeah.
July 2020 happened after COVID. A lot of families have been displaced. So if on or after July you were displaced, you were homeless, you're going to put yes.
So here's the thing about homelessness. If you don't have your own legal place to stay at, like you're not renting a place, you're not buying a place, you can technically be homeless living at your aunt or auntie's house or living with your grandparents with your family, okay? So if that's true, click yes.
And if it's not true, just click no. Okay, but again, it's going to apply differently to each student. It's not a general question that we can answer for everybody. So it says, based on your answers to the dependency status questions, you are considered a dependent student. This means you must provide parental information. Select, I will provide information about my parents, and click next to continue to filling out your FAFSA. I just want to make a point that it's really important, you guys, that we're just not clicking through, but you're actually reading what it's telling you. So it's telling you right here that you are now being considered a dependent student. It means that you depend on someone else. Okay, that someone else is your parent or legal guardian. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to put, I will provide information about my parents. You're going to hit next. Now it's going to bump us to the parent part. This is why it's important to have your parent information, because if you don't, you're going to have to stop here and you're going to have to come back to it when you have that information. If that were to happen, if you look up on top, there's different options here. Make sure you click save.
Make sure you click save.
Save, you might lose everything you just worked on before. So make sure you click save.
And then one thing I was gonna tell you guys is make sure you're if even with your folks, tell them be as honest as possible with how much money they make. If they get paid under the table, that's fine. But like, be honest when you're going through this, because we'll help you work through it, but be as honest as possible, because the institution that you send this to might ask for documentation. So don't say, hey, I have all these dependents when it's really not those dependents. That's why they asked you for your taxes 2 years back.
Yeah. So here it's saying, now we're in parent information. We're no longer in the student information. It's asking, as of today, what is the marital status of your parents? If for whatever reason you're not sure who would be identified as your parents, you can click on this hyperlink and it'll give you more information about who is considered a parent. Okay? So this will give you that information. But it's asking, are your parents legally married? We have had many students that find out that their parents have never been married, but have been together and have children, grandchildren,
Live together,
the whole shebang, but they're not legally married. So
okay, here's the thing. Your parents can actually go have a pastor, whoever does the ceremony, and not legally be married. Here's the thing. They have to go to the county or wherever they got married legally at and do paperwork. If that's done, they are legally married. If they haven't, they just did the ceremony, not legally married, okay?
So this is important. This question is really, really important. So as of today, what do we want to say, Mr. Brody? They've never been married. And that's the case. Some students, their parents never been married. Mm-hmm. They're unmarried, but see how it's giving you options? Unmarried and both legal parents are living together.
Yes.
Married or remarried. Yes. Divorced or separated or widowed, right? Mm-hmm. Widowed means that one of the spouses has passed. So
the remarried is also a thing that you guys have to understand too. Mm-hmm. So remarried is this. Let's say me or your parents break up and they both get married to someone else. Now you have to take into consideration whoever used due on their taxes for 2019. No? Okay, we'll get to that later.
No. So the way it works for financial aid, Mr. Brody, remember this is the video. Whoever provided the most
Oh, that's what I meant.
of your care. So if you have both your parents, but they were separated or they remarried and you have dad and stepmom and mom and stepdad or vice versa, you're gonna have to use the parent that you live the most with. There's 365 days in a year. Even if it's split evenly, there is actually one parent that's gonna have you one day more.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure that you're using that parent. If you're not sure, this is when you talk to me and Mr. Brody, and we will help you through this. But for financial aid purposes, you must use the parent that is providing the most aid for you, that's giving you the most for living expenses. The one you could live with your mom, but if you live with your dad one day extra, then it's going to be your dad.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is important. So for this, Mr. Brody, what do we want to put?
Let's just play around with it. Do unmarried and both legal parents living together.
Perfect. We're going to go with that.
Now we're just playing with this, you guys. Like we're just throwing out scenarios.
Yeah. So
we'll jump down our throat.
Remember, we need to put our parent information. So listen, look what it says. Enter information for the first parent, father or mother. It doesn't matter which one you pick as the first parent, but you have to remember who you put as your first parent and who you put as your second parent. And we'll tell you why later. So here we're gonna, let's say I wanna use my, my dad first. I'm gonna put my dad's social security number. So my dad's social security number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. My dad's last name is Robinson. My dad's first initial, it's just the initial, is J for Jackie. Date of birth, I don't know. What's
let me look up his date. Oh, I can't look up his date of birth.
Oh, okay.
well.
We're just gonna put today's date, and then your parents probably like a 70s.
Yeah, probably 60s, probably 80s.
Maybe 80s. So we're gonna just put 1978. That's a good in between. And then your parents' email address. So remember, it has to be something that your parents will check and use. So my dad, Jackie Robinson, his email is Jackie Robinson
42.
Thank you, at gmail.com. So again, retyping Jackie Robinson 42. And if y'all don't know why we're saying Jackie Robinson and 42, please go read a book.
So Jackie Robinson is a graduate of John Muir High School, and his famous number is 42, which is being retired by all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah. And if you all look at the hallway in the A building, you'll see his replica of his jersey. Okay, next. Now, enter information for your other parent. Now, remember, we entered my dad's. Now we're going to enter my mom's. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And my mom's last name is Mustang. And her initial is what?
I don't know.
Mustang Sally.
Thank you,
S.
Sarah.
And again, if you don't know that reference, go listen to a song. Her birthday's on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And she's a little older than my dad. Okay, so we're gonna hit next. So again, you wanna make sure you have your parents' actual information with you so that you're completing this correctly. Next. Now it's asking about your parents. Have your parents lived in California for at least 5 years? Yes. What is your household size? So right now it's already including your parents and it's including you. Notice how you can't make changes here. Okay, now it's saying your parents' other children, even if they don't live with you, if your parents will provide more than half of their support from the date, remember, July 1st through June 30th, or These children can answer no to every dependency question on the FAFSA.
Yes.
Okay, so if you have younger brothers and sisters, older brothers and sisters, if they're off in college, your parents are still providing support to them. So we're gonna put those people. So I'm gonna say in my house, I have my other brother who's older and he goes to PCC, my 2 little brothers that are twins and freshmen at Muir, and then my little sister, she's a baby, she's 9 months. So I'm gonna put 4 additional people. Now, it's asking other people if they now live with your parents or your parents provide more than half of their support and your parents will continue to provide more than half of their support. Well, my grandma lives with us and my grandma has a disability and my mom takes care of my grandma. So yes. So do we add grandma?
Yes.
Yes, because parents are providing more than half of their support. So we're gonna put grandma. Okay, now it's automatically adding the numbers for you. Your parents, 2, you, 3, your brothers and sisters, 4, your grandma, that's gonna be a total of 8. Notice how these that are grayed out, you cannot change. Number in college, remember I said my older brother is at PCC. So how many people in your parents' household will be in college? So my brother's gonna be in college, and who else is gonna be in college? I am. So there's 2 people that are gonna be in college, and we're gonna hit next. So again, everything's saved. It says you must provide financial information for your parents' 2019 tax return on the following pages. Now,
so it's 2 years back.
Yeah. Now, I do want to say one thing. For when you get to this part, you are probably going to be able to link to the IRS. We're not going to link to the IRS because, again, this is a fake application. So nothing's going to link up and it's just going to not work. But we're going to put already completed. Mostly everybody has completed their 2019 taxes already. If you haven't, it's because you filed some sort of extension. That's a special situation. Please ask us and we'll walk you through it. What type of income tax did your parents file for the 2019? So
Most
they
people do
filed,
at the top.
yeah, IRS 1040. Foreign tax return, return with the territory, unless you live in like Puerto Rico or anything like that. But most of you, 99% of you will pick IRS 1040. Now, here it's telling us that we're not eligible to use the IRS retrieval tool, but if you are eligible to use the retrieval tool, please, it behooves you. It is in your best interest to use the IRS retrieval tool because then you don't have what we call verification and it just saves you time. So when you're doing this part, if it tells you to link to the IRS retrieval tool, please make sure to link to the IRS retrieval tool. Again, because we're in a fake account, it's not going to let us do that. And so we're just going to proceed. Oh. Now, one thing that I want you all to be aware of is the financial aid application tells you where to look up the information. So here it's telling you, what is your parents' adjusted gross income for 2019? This amount is found on the IRS form 1040, line 8B. So if I was looking at a tax form, I'm going to look for line 8B. Okay, I'm going to put that number here, 13,550. That's it. You're going to put the exact amount that's on there. Don't round up, don't round down. You want to put the exact number that's on line 8B. Okay. Then
now, we will tell you, with a family size of 8, you're getting all your financial aid with that much money. Now, I will tell you this, broke is good when you're applying for financial aid, okay?
Yes. So now it's asking you for parent 1 and parent 2. Remember, parent 1 is my dad. So how much did your parent 1 earn from working wages in 2019? This amount is your parent 1 portion IRS line 1 plus schedule 1 lines 3 and 4. So now it's getting a little complicated, right? But one thing I do know is that my dad's the only one that works and my mom doesn't. So I'm just going to put the same amount here. And for my mom, I'm going to put 0 because it's 0. She doesn't have one. But if you had a whole household with 2 incomes, you are going to have to put both of their incomes separated. So it says, you indicated that your parents filed an IRS 1040. Did your parents file a Schedule 1? Select no if your parents did not file a Schedule 1. Or only filed a Schedule 1 to report unemployment, education expenses, IRA deductions, school interest. So you have to make sure you read this. I'm going to put, I don't know. As of today, is either of your parent a dislocated worker? So if you don't know what a dislocated worker is, you're going to click on the thing and it's going to give you information on a dislocated worker. But it's basically someone who is receiving unemployment benefits because they don't have a job or they haven't been able to get a work or some disability of some sort, okay?
Or COVID laid them off,
Yep.
Things like that.
And that might apply to some. So remember, it's asking either parent. So if that happened, then you would put yes. If it didn't, you would put no. Again, if you don't know, you can put I don't know. Then it's going to ask you more questions. In 2019 or 2020, did you, your parent, or anyone in your parents' household receive any of the benefits programs listed below? So check all that apply or check none of the above. So
generally, a lot of you guys will probably get free and reduced lunch. So that's the lunch program you guys do.
Mm-hmm. And now I know that my grandma gets supplemental security income. So I'm going to put yes. And I also know that we get WIC. We get the cereal, the cheese, the milk, things like that. So I'm going to put that on there. But if none of these apply, then you would put none of the above. But again, this is not the time to be shy or embarrassed. Like, this is a good time to just be open and honest, like Mr. Brody said. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. And then it's asking, do you want to skip the remaining questions about your and your parents' income and assets? I'm going to put yes. The reason why is because I know we don't have any additional income and I know we don't have any assets. Now, you might have your family who owns their home. Even though that's an asset, it is the primary home of residence, so you do not include it on here. Okay? Now, if your parents owned additional property and they're making money off of that additional property, then you're going to put, yes, that's an asset. But if it's your primary home, you are not going to put that information on here.
Stock dividends, like high amounts of stock dividends, that's an asset. Now, their 401k, it's an asset, but they can't really use that anyway. So
right,
you don't really have to bring that one up.
So yes, I want to skip these because we don't have any money. So now it skipped everything with student financials because, it doesn't apply. Are you a preparer? You're not a preparer. And even if Mr. Brody and I were to help you, we don't prepare it. You are doing it. We're just guiding you through the steps. So we're going to put no, and we're going to hit next. So now we finally got to the page where we're going to be able to review all of our information. This is really important.
Please take your time in paying attention to the numbers that you're putting in there. So we've had this a couple of times. We had a kid put an extra 0 or 2 on their parents' income. And they were like, my parents don't make that much money. But you put your parents made over $300,000 and like, oh, it's only 30 grand. So make sure you have the correct numbers.
Make sure you have the correct numbers, the correct socials, the correct spelling of the names, everything, birthdays. But the income is so important because we've had those students and it's like, oh, you make over $1 million. Like, no, I don't. Like, my family doesn't. So we want to be very careful when we're putting in those numbers. So you want to double check that all of your information is accurate. And you're going to make sure that you have the schools listed that you want to go to, that you are single, you don't have any dependents, your parents' demographic information, the financial information for your parents.
Very important.
super important. Again, Mr. Brody was saying don't add that extra zero, right? If I were to add an extra zero, the income would be $135,000.
Which changes your financial aid.
Yeah.
Remember,
And then
broke is good in financial aid.
students' financials, even if you had a job, you have to make a significant amount of money.
I think it's what, over 12,000?
Mhm.
Actually, I thought it was 20 now. But,
Yeah, we have to look. And then we're gonna go next. Now that we reviewed it, we're gonna go next. So here how it says signature is needed, you're gonna need one for yourself and you're gonna need one for your parent. So I'm gonna provide my student's signature, agree. Next. Here we're gonna put our FSA ID and username. Oh geez.
that's that one that we made. I don't know. Oh, it was the full one. The sample account.
The sample account?
I think it was. Or did we make a real one?
No, we didn't make a real one.
I forgot. See, this
But
is why you
here-
write stuff down.
But this is where you would put in your FSA ID number, and then you would click sign FAFSA. And then you would do the same thing for your parent if they create an FSA ID. Once you do that part, then you'll be able to actually submit. So I'm gonna click on here. I'm gonna hit agree. Next, I'm gonna say options to sign and submit. I'm gonna put right now without signatures, just so that we can move forward. And then this one too, provide. Oh, wait, let me go back.
But you guys want the signature. Okay?
Right. This is just so that we can show you what the confirmation looks like. Oh, go back. I'm going to submit without signature. See how it says this option allows you to submit the FAFSA now without your signature, but you will need to return later to sign it. So let's say you have all your information, you're ready to go. Oh, but you're missing your parents' FSA ID and they're at work and you can't really get a hold of them. You can still submit it and then come back and resubmit. So,
But you have to do it. They're gonna ask for that signature.
yeah. Okay, we're almost done. So now you're going to click on submit my FAFSA now. Congratulations, John. Your FAFSA was successfully submitted to Federal Student Aid, and it's going to give you a data release number. It's going to tell you what happens next. It's going to give you that they're going to send you a version of the confirmation to your email. And then here it's giving you an expected family contribution. Again, these are all fake numbers. So, but you need to read this here at the bottom where it says your estimated information, eligibility information. Based on your eligibility, you may be eligible for the following: the Pell Grant, which is a federal grant, the direct Stafford loan. Okay, so this is what we want to see. Okay.
Want zeros.
Yes, we want zeros. So it's been submitted. So you'll get the confirmation that you successfully submitted your financial aid application. And then a couple of days, like 2 to 3 days later, you'll get one that says process. That's the one we really want you to have, the process one, because that means everything went through with no errors, no mistakes, and you're good to go.
And
so
check your spam folder also, because
yes.
it might end up in your spam folder.
Yes, make sure you check your spam. So we know that this video was lengthy, but we wanted to make sure that we answered questions. Again, we weren't able to go through every different type of scenario that we've seen, but we are hoping that at least this is enough information to get you started. Again, if you're not sure what to do, you can always click save and you can ask one of us to help you. We're also going to be pushing out calendar dates of the financial aid workshops, and that includes the California Dream Act and the Federal Student Aid. So we want to make sure that you guys start on this early versus waiting to the last minute to do it. But we hope you found this video helpful. Again, I know it's long, but we have to make it work on this virtual setting.
Maybe a little entertaining.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little entertaining.
Anything else, Mr. Brody?
I would just say, please write down your passwords, your IDs, your pins, like, you know, make it a note in your phone, make it in your cloud somewhere. I don't care. Write it down, tattoo it on your skin. Who cares? Figure it out. But don't lose that information, because you see us going through this, we forgot it too ourselves. So
yeah.
yeah, kind of have fun. If you have questions, please email us, call us. We can do these video things with you also.
Yeah, we can do video, virtual, office hours, office visits, anything that we need to make sure that we help you navigate through the process. We know it's a lot of information, but this is why we're trying to do things early on so that you don't feel more overwhelmed already than what you do. So.
And we made it a little crazy on purpose just to throw out crazy scenarios. But, you know, if nothing's wrong, just go move right along with it. But really be honest with it. Be as honest as possible. And, you know, we'll help you with some stuff as we get through it. But, you know, try not to lie.
And yeah, and I was gonna say the application normally doesn't take more than 30 minutes if you have all the information. But again, because Mr. Brody and I are throwing different scenarios at you, and we really want to make sure you're reading it thoroughly, it took us a little bit longer, but it really shouldn't take no more than 30 minutes to complete.
Yeah, if you have everything ready.
Right.
So do your prep ahead of time.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Brody?
Great day.
All right. Good luck, everybody, and go Mustangs.
Yeah, all that.